To the point. No stranger to a Poets for Justice stage either, and not one to sugarcoat or dream up some cute quotes. As an unapologetic advocate for truth and master wordsmith, he takes pride in dropping knowledge, telling his story, and being an inspiration on whatever stage he graces. He is originally from New Jersey. In his art, he likes to focus on internal conflicts, shining light on the toxic norms and narratives of today's society. Spoken word is his weapon of choice in attacking them. Please welcome to the stage, Corey Bryant.
How y'all feeling? Great. Y'all know me, I'm straight to the point. All right, we're going to get political and then we're going to talk about God for a minute. But first thing is everybody got me charged up, so now I got to talk about that. First is called Holy Lands. You know, since last October, I've been researching the conflict in Palestine to try to get a glimpse of what's happening when I had the time. That's when I found myself going down this rabbit hole as I searched for the truth in the midst of these lies that I've been told. I also learned about what's happening in the Congos, what's happening in Yemen, Haiti, and in Sudan, what the U.S. did to Panama, Guatemala, Vietnam, Honduras, and Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, and the Philippines. It's crystal clear that imperialism is still a thing, but anyway, they said Hamas attacked the Israeli civilians, and they killed 1,300 men, women, and children, which is something I could never celebrate, and I wish they could have got their point across using a better way, but without the proper context, the details in the story get distorted. To really understand what happened, you gotta know what came before this. And I hate to see people become collateral damage, but oppression can turn the people into radical bandits. They asked Hassan Kanafani, why not just talk to the Israeli leaders? He said, because that's like a talk between a sword and a neck. And as a black man, I can understand, that's like me talking to a racist cop who swore to protect. See, this is not about prophecy. This is all about policies that give oppressors the right to carry out the atrocities and insidious evil against indigenous people, then rewrite history to make you think they didn't deceive you. Listen, my people, this so-called war is nothing but a proxy. And because of their own motives, the Zionists supported Nazis. They supported Hamas initially until it backfired. The story is only complex when it's being told by bad liars. See, Bin Laden made it clear in '94. The treatment of the Palestinians made them hate us even more. Just imagine if we had iPhones when Bush invaded Iraq. It would have shown us how we all have been living under a rock. People, please, don't let this propaganda leave you confused. This is not a holy war between the Muslims and Jews. In fact, Zionists and Jews aren't even the same people. You got Christian Zionists who subscribe to the same people. You got to learn how to see through all these images and fake facades, because this is how crimes are committed in the name of God. They've been oppressing these people since 1948. And if people picked up a book, there would be no more debate. Must I remind American citizens of their history when Israel had launched an attack on USS Liberty, killed 34 crew members on the day they attacked the ship. Israel crossed us, trying to make it seem like an accident, trying to cover it up by getting rid of the evidence. They silenced the journalists and tried to blackmail the president. They stole millions of dollars from us in military aid. It's clear to me the American is the real Israeli slave. While we stressed about all the circumstances we're dealing with here, we've been sending Israel billions of dollars a year. And I find that difficult to register when you and I are struggling at the gas pumps and the registers. So it's really an understatement to say that the government is flawed. And if our media doesn't cover it, then that means that we're involved. So it's obvious that everything they say is dishonest. These rappers can rap about murder and selling narcotics, but if I post Free Palestine, they'll take down my comment. What's the point of supporting troops if you create the jihadists? But Israel has the right to exist. And I find that funny, because Glenwood was the richest black neighborhood in the country, and for years this government has done its best to keep us all asleep. Israel has the right to exist, but not Black Wall Street or Vanport in Oregon or Warren out in Baltimore or Vincent, Alabama or Seneca Village in New York and all the other black towns that no longer exist because they were either sunken under rivers or were torched. You see, my people know a thing or two about an ethnic cleansing. That's why these protests and these riots feel like they're never ending. So hell yeah, I'm screaming from the river to the sea. Because every time I look into the mirror, I can see that I'm a product of my land being invaded by criminals, enslaved my people and stole the resources and minerals. But to help Israel kill these babies, you will use my tax money, but will never compensate me for the root you snatched from me. That's why I can't align with Dr. Umar's message when there's Afro-Palestinians who have deeply been affected. Fatima Fanan was a Palestinian Nigerian resistance fighter, the first Palestinian woman to start a military operation in the occupied territory. I would never hesitate to tell her story. Or about Ali Chuda, who's a black patriarch in Jerusalem, and they'll tell you that Israeli racism is nothing new to them. No need for speculations because he's seen it. Calling black people kushi, which means the N-word in English. You can tell them about those black Israelis marching in the street because of how they've been mistreated by those Israeli police, all those African migrants and Ethiopian Jews discriminated against, but that ain't seen on the news. Omar's confused. For years we have shared our solidarity because of our oppression and all the familiarities. From Mandela to Malcolm to Muhammad Ali, they all spoke out against the oppression and the powers that be. Hell, Kwame Ture had frequently spoke out against the Zionists and how they control Palestinians using an iron fist. He said, a conscious person recognizes their responsibility to humanity. But we've turned into people who are only outraged when it happens close to home or it's a member of your family. Y'all seeing this insanity. Y'all seeing all those dead babies scattered on that Gaza Strip. A lack of faith would have one questioning if God exists. You know how hard it is to walk by faith when you live under the conditions of an apartheid state? But even if I wasn't Muslim, I refuse to be desensitized and turn a blind eye to all this tyranny and genocide. Free Palestine, free the Congos, and free Sudan, and all the indigenous people oppressed on their own land. Thank you.